Let me tell you, I've been dreaming about trying this crazy triple high refresh rate QD-OLED monitor setup for obvious reasons. We don't have 240, 360, or even 500 hertz big QD-OLED TVs. And we don't have beyond 4K. So doing this would allow you to see the future. Okay, this setup can predict the future. So it's just fascinating to me. Now, obviously, the elephant in the room is we have these vessels. But think about it. Will this work with a bigger, triple TV setup? Let's say you get a triple 65-inch QD-OLED TV or even 77-inch. That's probably beyond what Jensen has at home, as its home. So it's just gonna be incredible. Now, it might not be ideal, of course not. But if we can beat the $10,000 command center that Jensen has at home, we're doing it. Of course, we are not. He probably has a micro LED wall or something like that. 2000 nits full screen, 8K. Yeah, we are not beating that. Actually, micro LED is fascinating for this very reason. It is modular, so you can scale that up. Of course, there are limitations, but I think that's one of the most exciting things about micro LED. Of course, it's crazy expensive. You get the idea. Now, thank you very much, MSI, for sending me these monitors to try. And I have to say, it doesn't get any better than MSI. As a YouTuber, they do not require me anything other than having the product name in the description of the video. That's it. So I reach out to them, hey, I have this idea, and they are like, cool, here you go. It's just awesome. So I have total freedom to give you my 100% honest thoughts on this setup. It doesn't work. Okay, it sucks. Okay. Now, there is another, and I will explain you why, but there is another possibility. Right now, I have this triple 27-inch 240 hertz QD-OLED setup in portrait. And the reason why I wanted to try this first is because this is beyond 4K. Okay, this is 4320 horizontally, 4,320 pixels. And then vertically, we have 2560. Okay, 2,560 pixels. So this resolution is beyond 4K. So we can get more detail. And on top of that, 240 hertz, we don't have beyond 4K 240 hertz. Now the thing is, it doesn't work, okay? Because the NVIDIA surround is going off the maximum, it seems to me. The explanation might be different, and if you know how to get this working, let me know. So the thing is, it works at 120 hertz. So what I believe is going on is that these displays, to get 240 hertz, they need DSC, display stream compression. When you turn that off, you can get 120 hertz. So when you use NVIDIA surround to get this, it seems like it can only do as far as you can do without DSC. So 120 hertz, this is not compelling. I'd much rather play on my 65-inch TV. It's bigger, brighter, it's QD-OLED, and I don't have any of these defects. And the increased resolution of this setup is, of course, it doesn't make that big of a difference for it to be worth it. Now, there is another option. And by the way, I tried creating a custom resolution with the CRU app I tried to force the game to open with this resolution by just changing the config file. It didn't work. Now, maybe it works on a different game. Let me know if you have experience doing this and if you know a solution, because I would definitely like to try this at 240 hertz. And again, you could get this set up at 360 hertz or even 500 hertz, depending on if that's even possible for the GPU to output or the limitations with the bandwidth and all of that. But there is another way that we can try this setup that most likely will make sense, because I mean other people have tried that, of course, and I'm sure other people have tried this, but because it doesn't work, it doesn't have a lot of popularity. But if I set the displays, instead of portrait, I set them on landscape, so 16:9 regular position, we can use this display, this bezel-free kit to make the bezels disappear completely. Now this is gonna look kind of blurry because it still has the peel. I peeled off one of this, so it basically makes your bezel disappear completely. You cannot see the bezel at all, but for that to work well, you need to have the displays in an angle. So you would have a center display, and then these two displays and the peripheral would be at a 50 or 60 degree angles, or 120, 130, depending on how you look at it. So that setup is going to be super ultra wide. It might be too much actually, and that's what I'm afraid of. That's just gonna be way too much. It might work for sim racing, so if you have like a steering wheel and all of that just to play racing games, that might be awesome. But maybe for first person shooters, but I'm afraid it might be just way too much, because I already tried 32:9, which is less than that. And I mean, you have a monitor more than 32:9, and it was already crazy, and I was getting stretching that doesn't look great on the corners. So I will try that setup, and we'll do a separate video about that, because that is really the real setup to try with this configuration, and I might actually recommend that. But this one, no. Don't buy 3 monitors to do this. You're not gonna be happy with it. Now, what about TVs? Because you have a bigger screen size. I mean, I have right now 2 65-inch QDOLED TVs. So I will get the Samsung S90. So right now I have the S90D and S90C, and I will get the Samsung S95F for the channel, so we can peel off the matte finish and share the settings and compare and all of that. So I will definitely try this. But with the TVs, I don't have a stand like these monitors to just quickly flip them in portrait to see how they look like. So I am trying this setup first to see if I see myself investing, because there's a big investment for the TVs. I need to wall mount them with a big arm for the mounting bracket so I can move them and open the holes in the wall. So it's a big investment just to try this and be like, oh, it doesn't work. So, it's like it's just too much. So that's why I am so grateful that MSI sent me this so I can try it first and to see if it works. Now with a bigger size, of course it's gonna be different, because the proportion between how big is the screen real estate versus the bezel is going to be a lot more favorable. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have to step back, which will definitely reduce the size of the bezel. It might not. So what my point is, the bezel might not be a big deal. if you have a much bigger screen. But the thing is, at the end, the amount of information that you will have here is the same. That's not gonna change. So I think the bezels are going to be in the way, and it's gonna be a deal breaker. Now, triple 65-inch TV or even this triple 27-inch monitor, I think it will work, especially with these. And it shouldn't be that bothersome because that bezel is going to be on the peripheral view. And if you even hide it using this thing, and they are in an angle which makes the bezel even smaller, I think that's gonna work very well. And then my question is, well, how about stretching? With the bigger TVs, what I'm thinking is not going the full size of the TVs on the side and just going 32 by 9. Now with monitors, that wouldn't make any sense because you just go and buy a 32 by 9 QDOLED monitor. So why would you do that with the monitors? But with the TVs, you don't have a 32 by 9 that is that big. So it's definitely worth trying. I think it's gonna be amazing, absolutely insane. So I will do a separate video once I have these and landscape with the bezel-free kit. And if you wonder, well, how are you gonna use this bezel-free kit for the 65-inch TVs? This has been done before. There's a YouTube channel that did it. I think he did it with LCD TVs. And he does like sim racing stuff. And basically you have to glue together two of these. It's tricky to do. And you always see the mark in between, but TVs are so big and that's gonna be in the peripheral view, it doesn't really matter that much. And for sim racing, you might have the pillar, the left pillar of the car where the bezel is. Someone said, this setup right now could work very well for mech warriors. It's a game where you are inside a mech, and where the bezels are is probably where the pillars of the robot will be. So this might be something niche that works very, very well, specifically for a game that you play a lot. And in that case, well, it might make sense because you don't see it as a defect if you have like a pillar of a robot here. It doesn't matter at all. But the biggest problem I see right now is that I don't see a way to get this working at the maximum refresh rate. Now my 5090 has no issues setting up all the displays at the maximum refresh rate. But I'm sure there might be a way to get this working, but I don't know yet. So let me know if you know that part. So yeah, but definitely I will try it in landscape and let you know how that works. Now, at the center, this monitor is the 360 hertz version, and these two are the 240 hertz version. It's the same monitor, literally the only difference is the refresh rate. And why? Because MSI didn't have two 360, they had only one, so they decided to send me two 240 hertz instead. And I wanted to try more like, okay, how about the bezel? So I wanted to evaluate the whole picture. I know how 240 and 360 look like, but I would have liked to try 360. I think with the 360 hertz setup, because you can get 240 hertz without DSC, I'm almost sure that was gonna work. 240 hertz with NVIDIA surround, because you don't need DSC for that. But now this should still work because we have bandwidth for it. And yeah, again, if you know the solution, let me know because I want to try it. And I can definitely get 240 FPS in a game like this. I mean, right now my GPU is at 44% and I'm getting 120 FPS. Of course, the CPU is demanding too, so it's gonna drop below 240 because of the CPU. This game drops like to 165 in bad scenarios, but that's still pretty good. I mean, from 165 to 240 is pretty good. And if I use frame generation, I could, this game doesn't have frame generation, but I could use lossless scaling, or a game that supports frame generation, I can do that and get 360, 240, no problem. From 120 to 240 should be pretty easy for the 50. Now for the triple 65-inch QD OLED setup from Samsung, each TV has Game Motion Plus, motion interpolation for gaming, which works very, very well. So I don't even care too much with the TV setup if I can get 120 or 144 hertz or 120. I don't care. If I get 60, which is going to work, that's enough, because I get 60 FPS, Game Motion Plus, crazy amount of pixels and size, and I'm happy with it. Okay, so I don't care too much about, I'm not concerned about that part with the TVs. But yeah, to give you some conclusions, this doesn't work well. Portrait like this doesn't work well. It's very cool, and I will definitely be playing some games like this because it's cool. But no, it's just, the thing is, you're focused on the center of the screen, so it's not that big of a deal. I can see people who would not bother that, this wouldn't bother them that much, but you don't spend over $2,000 on displays to then be compromising so big like this. Okay. Now, if you have it super ultra wide, then it's a different story, because you can hide the vessel with this. You have the angle, and it's just a different story. That setup might make sense, but not this one. Like this, no. I would not recommend it. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions if you've ever tried this setup. Now, I was gonna say, the center display is the MAG 271 QPX, and these two 360 hertz. So this is the center one is 360 hertz displays, and these two are the same MAG 271 QPX QD OLED E2. So that E2, that's the 240 hertz version. I will make a dedicated video about these monitors because they deserve it. I think that if you cannot get more than 240 hertz, a 1440p, why would you spend more money and get the 360? It's not gonna do anything. Like, there's no difference at all. If you have 240 FPS, zero difference. Okay, so you save the money, get the 240 hertz. So I think these monitors deserve a video, and I will also make a video about the uniformity and calibration, factory calibration between these three monitors. So 3 monitors is not a big sample size, but I think it can give you some insights. If the calibration is completely different, now we know, okay, if you watch a review and the reviewer tells you, oh, this monitor calibration is messed up, or it is very good, then if it is consistent across all the monitors, then you can say, okay, whatever they say on the review, that's most likely what I'm gonna get. But let me tell you, it is not. It is not. The white balance is so different that I am shocked, especially with this monitor. So I will do a video about that. And I have not checked the screen uniformity yet of these two, but of course my monitor here at the center, which I've been using for a while now, is it's not flawless, it's not perfect, but it's very, very good. So I'll try these two. So I'll basically give you all my thoughts on these monitors. So yeah, that's what I have for you today. Very cool. Biggest disappointment is that it didn't work at 240 hertz, even when it should work. It's not a thing with the monitor. I think Nvidia's around, is buggy, or I don't know, because this should work and it doesn't. So let me know if you have a solution for that, so I can actually try them, because it doesn't work either if I set them to landscape, it doesn't work. I tried out already, even without moving them, it doesn't work. Oh, also, another consideration before I forget is that these monitors don't let you turn off the pixel shift completely. And that's a problem. That's a problem because this, for example, the size of this vessel right here is changing with the pixel shift because the whole screen moves. So we have some extra pixels that are not being utilized all the time. So the monitor can move the entire screen to, that's a burning or image retention protection mechanism that's undefeatable on these monitors. So that's a no-go for these triple monitor setups, I have to say. So even if the triple setup landscape works very well, I am not gonna recommend you these monitors for that because you cannot turn it off. And I think MSI should definitely allow you to turn that off. It's a deal breaker, okay? Now, it has never bothered me. Just using this monitor by itself, it has never bothered me. And if there's one protection mechanism that I can live with, is the pixel shift, because it doesn't lower the brightness. It doesn't affect the picture quality. It might just be a little bit annoying if you notice the screen moving. It's a little bit annoying. I don't want to live with it. Now the thing is, with this monitor, I don't notice like on the TV that you have, for example, you have a window and then part of the window starts to disappear because of the pixel shift. I don't see that happening with the monitor because I think they have more headroom. So basically the screen moves, but you can still see the entire thing. So yeah, it is less worse than on the TVs, but they should let you turn it off, okay? And that's my feedback for MSI. Please, just do a firmware update and let me turn off that. I understand they want to give you 3 years of warranty, which is amazing. But myself, I would prefer if there's an option to, okay, you want to avoid your warranty by turning off the pixel shift, click accept, yes. Are you sure? Yes. Okay, one more time. It's the last time. If you turn this on, you don't have warranty. Okay, yes, let me do it. I wish they had that option if that's even necessary, because yeah, they do let you turn off the rest of the dimming other than ABL. ABL is undefeatable, which is great. There are some companies that don't let you turn that off either, which sucks. But yeah, that's the only protection mechanism that you cannot completely turn off on these monitors. But again, that's a deal breaker for these kind of setups, but not for just using the monitor by itself. It doesn't really bother me that much. It does bother me a lot on the TVs, but not on the monitor. So let me know your thoughts and opinions, and if you have any questions.